Hi everybody. We are looking at my 125 right now, and what you can see in front of you is one of my clown loaches, and in the shadows is my elephant nose fish. You can just see his tail right there. I'm actually having some concerns about the elephant nose, and if you look at this rock very closely right here, you'll see I've got a little bit of something budged underneath of there. That is tubifex worms. I have those little dried cubes that you can stick to the glass. Well, the fish tear it off the glass and it just floats to the surface, and then any bottom-dwelling fish don't stand a chance of getting any of those tubifex. I've even tried soaking them in water for a long period of time before pouring them in the tank, and they still just float for the most part. If you've got a heavy current, they will sort of circulate, but they do not settle to the bottom the way the bloodworms will. Now, the concern I'm having with this elephant nose, and you can see the loaches already found it, which I expected to happen. Loaches are diggers as well. But the elephant nose has what appears to be a proboscis, and it's not. It's just its lower lip. It does use that lower lip, however, like a proboscis, and it probes into the soil and the substrate, and in the wild it lives in very muddy or soft sandy conditions, and it roots around quite a bit. I've seen videos of these where they really just, almost like a pig snout rooting through the muck. This fish, however, is not doing that. Now, the substrate I've got in there is coarse, but it's a very lightweight substrate, so I thought the lightweight would offset the coarseness of it. Now I'm not so sure. When I watch this elephant nose, he does sort of probe around, but not down into the substrate, just sort of over the surface and maybe down into a few little nooks and crannies, and then he does a lot of what he's doing now. He roots around in the nooks and crannies on the rock work and in the woodwork, but he really doesn't seem to dig around in the substrate, and by nature, that's what these animals do. So that kind of concerns me, that I've put him in conditions that are not going to be very favorable for him. And I say all the time that I believe that first and foremost, the health and well-being of the animals should be what is taken into consideration. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. If it's not bothering him, if his snout's not getting irritated, then I'm not going to worry about it. Of course, I call it a snout. It's not. It's lower lip, like I said. And as long as I see that he's eating properly, I'll be okay. I'm not going to worry too much about this fish. But getting to his eating, that is something I'm a little more concerned about. These are very, very specialized feeders in the wild. And whenever you've got a fish that is a specialized feeder, you've got to be prepared to meet those very special needs. And this fish is an electric fish. It's very similar to the black ghost knife fish. It's a Mormyridae. It's in that family. And they actually, in the wild, they usually live in very slow-moving, murky waters. They hunt at night, and they do not rely very much on vision to hunt. They rely on their electrical field around them. And the tiny, tiny little electrical impulses that are generated by the little worms and crustaceans and things that live in the muck and the sand are what they pick up on. And that's how they use it to find their food. So I'm in a situation where I'm not feeding this animal live prey. I'm putting either the tubifex worms in there, or I'm putting the blood worms in there. And while those are suitable foods nutritionally, I'm just concerned that the animal's not going to know that it's food, because they hunt live animals in the wild. They don't feed on carrion. They're not catfish that feeds off of whatever's lying on the bottom. So the purpose of this little experiment is, once again, just to try to find a way to get these, make sure this animal's eating properly. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on it. The loach already has found it. The skirt tetra, not the skirt tetras, the Congo tetras know there's food in here somewhere. I can just tell by their heightened activity and the fact that they're sort of hovering around on this part of the tank. They usually sit in that back corner unless they're darting around. So they know some food's in there somewhere. They can taste it or smell it or whatever. I'm just hoping that elephant nose does as well, and with it being sort of under that rock like that, I'm hoping it will be able to get to it easily enough that it can simulate its natural behavior in the wild and still get some food. So anybody has any experience with these animals, the elephant nose fish, the Mormyrids in particular, Let me know, what your experience has been and what your opinion is, whether you think that this is going to be something I need to consider really getting live praying there for or not. Again, I'm keeping a very close eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on its, physical condition, as well as just watching its behavior and seeing if I can actually catch it in the process of eating. So let me know in the comment section. And as a little side note for all of those who watched my last video and were a little startled by the way my Ctenopoma sleeps down there in the bottom, as you can see, he's perfectly fine and healthy. He really was just taking a nap. He does that all the time. It's a little disturbing when you see it the first time, but you get used to it. He was just taking a nap. He's fine. So there is a very close-up look at my 125. I kind of have to stand on the other side of the room to get the whole tank in. I'm leaning back as far as I can in my chair right now. So there you have it. Please like, please sub. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you on the next one.